Hey guys, Ryan from MACkite here. Today I have Hunter with me. Hunter has been riding the foil drive quite a bit, and we're just going to talk a little bit about his previous experience in water sports and what has drawn him to the foil drive, and a little bit about his recent trip to the Outer Banks. So Hunter, previous experience with water sports. What's your history there going into foil drive, and how long have you been on the foil drive now?
Yeah, so I grew up on a lake, so I was always just out boating and everything. So I started off wakeboarding, water skiing, all that kind of stuff. Saw foil on Facebook once upon a time and decided to try that out. That was probably back in 2020. So learned that behind the boat first.
Okay.
Learned to foil behind the boat. Then moved over here where there was more waves on the west side of the state, got more interested in like actually riding swell and not just the boat wakes, so wanted to give that a try and slowly started to prone, and then wanted to catch even more waves, so jumped on the foil drive to kind of maximize each session and get on as many waves as possible.
Cool. So when you were boat foiling, how long had you done that to? Kind of what point did you get to before you hopped on the foil drive, and what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, so I probably strictly foiled behind the boat for 4 years or so. Only really been foil driving the past year now. Started last summer right around this time now. But when I started to prone, it was when I went to North Carolina a couple years ago, wanted to take my boat foil in the ocean waves. Can say that it wasn't the right gear for the ocean, but definitely learned and piqued my interest in jumping out into those conditions.
All right, so you just came back from the Outer Banks recently here. You went out there for the first time with the foil drive, I believe.
Yep, first time.
Walk us through kind of what kind of conditions did you get out there, and how did the foil drive play into that for you? Were you able to go to new breaks, maybe get some extra days on the water that you wouldn't have? Just kind of walk us through the trip a little bit and how it went, and how your experience was maybe different with the foil drive than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said before, I've gone to the Outer Banks every year just as a family trip, but it's kind of turned in more into just trying to get waves out there. This was the first year that it legit was flat most of the time. I've never seen the water so calm and so crystal clear out there. So it was cool in that aspect, but also there wasn't a lot of waves. Like right outside of where we were staying, it would be dead flat. Like you could go barefoot water skiing. It was so calm. But where the waves were working because of the tides and everything, it would be like a mile down the beach near a pier. You couldn't really get to that pier with a surfboard unless you paddled that mile, because there's no parking by that specific pier that we were at. But the foil drive allowed me to just motor down there that mile, foil drive around for a good 40 minutes, and then motor back, and still had some battery to spare. So that opened up that spot for me, which really only foil drive could have done, because I wouldn't have paddled on a surfboard or a prone foil board all the way that mile. I would have been dead when I was there. So definitely foil drive allowed me to catch those waves out there. But then the last day of the trip, it finally turned on, and the waves were actually had some good swell out there the last day. So we made the most out of that. Got a couple different sessions in the last day right out front where we didn't have to travel far.
Cool. And I saw in the some of these video clips here that you're riding around your friends on some longboards. What would you say your wave count was to theirs with the foil drive?
Yeah, so in full disclosure, in the videos, when you see me getting close to the surfers, they're all my friends. We're all buddies. It was all in good heart. They knew I was coming. They trust me for the most part. So I was never disturbing any sort of lineup during this. But I mean, where they would catch, these were small, mushy waves. They kind of would have a fast break, and then it would just kind of roll. So really perfect for foiling, getting up. But obviously it didn't always have that peak. So foil drive allowed me to get into it early and ride it all the way in. Where them on the longboards, they would catch it for a good like 5 seconds and then kind of lose it because it would just turn into mush. So, you know, they would get like 6-7 waves in a session, and I would probably get 40 waves because I was just nonstop for a good 45 minutes, just going back and forth, getting everything I could. So
Yeah, big difference there for sure.
Yeah.
Walk us through some of the gear that you're riding. I know that you had an Axis setup that you brought out there. I think you were on the, was it primarily on the foildrive Max, or were you on the Slim a little bit too?
Yeah, so mainly just on the Max there. I'll run it from the top to the bottom. So I was on the Zapple 5.0 38 liter trench board. So that was the board I was on basically the whole entire time. Really like that board just for ease of getting up, but then also on those touchdowns, it kind of helps. You don't really feel that foildrive unit that's mounted to the bottom of the board. Kind of glides right off, so that's super nice. Had a Cedrus mast, just been using that to switch between foils. And then I was on mainly the Axis Art 999 V2. That was like when I was going down to that pier motoring around. I like that bigger foil for those smaller days when there wasn't a lot of waves to be caught, but also there wasn't a lot of push. So that bigger foil just was super easy on those days and made those days fun. And then on that last day, I think like most of the clips we have are, I was on the Spitfire 780, so smaller wing. Was super happy with that. It was actually my first time on that wing. Was able to pump it a lot, connect some waves. I think like, you know, I don't connect waves often, but that wing I was pleasantly surprised with how easily it was able to connect them. I think I caught 3 in one try once, so not even using the foildrive to motor back out, so I was pretty stoked on that.
Nice. Yeah, the Spitfire for sure is a really playful, easy to carve wing, good for when you've got a little bit more power, I'd say, whereas that Art is definitely, it's a good glider. Kind of almost like downwind swell, mushy, just does that really small stuff with very little power well. Like
For
a
sure.
lot of days we get here, I know you've ridden it here too, we get a lot of really small, mushy days.
Yep.
And that Art is awesome out there, but you're not going to be able to carve it or rip it quite as hard as you would the Spitfire. So
Right. I will say with that Art, I paired it with a smaller tail, kind of like you move your back foot back a little bit, get more of a pivot on it, and with the longer wingspan of that Art 999, could still get some wingtip out, so it still feels really good in that. Like, it's pretty versatile. I think anyone would be surprised on kind of how well you can actually turn it in some of the
for
some of
sure.
the waves.
And Access has a really good lineup where it's easy to really change the ride with a different stabilizer on there. They've got so many options as far as stabilizers go that sometimes it can be a bit daunting, but especially in the case of like the Art where you have such a wide wingspan, both changing the fuselage length and the stabilizer can really do a lot for you if you're looking to get either more glide and more efficiency out of the system or something to carve a little bit better. So
For sure.
yeah, it looked like you had an awesome time there. Watching the waves earlier, it looked like just that perfect kind of foil drive, just like unbroken swell. There's only a little bit of white water you can see in the clips.
Yeah,
Just
it
kinda
was
ideal.
it was awesome, and I mean there was some where I could catch them so far out when the wave was just forming, and it would be such a long ride in, and it felt so good where only foildrive could do that, because there's no way I could have proned into those waves that weren't even close to breaking yet, but you were able to catch it so far out. So it was really cool, really good, especially that last day, really good last day out there. Glad
Yeah.
we got those waves when we did.
For sure. Cool. Well, it's great to have you here, talk to you about your recent trip. In summary here, kind of any advice you would give to anyone that's looking to maybe take a trip somewhere, as far as what they might want to pack with their foil drive. Like, I know that you had kind of a 1-2 combo there with the smaller, more carvy Spitfire and the Art.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, is kind of have that bigger wing just in case you don't get those waves that you're hoping for the whole trip, but then have that smaller, more punchy wing for when the waves decide to work and they're bigger, and then you can have some real fun turning on them. But I think that bigger wing still makes it so if there's a smaller day, you can still have fun on that smaller day. Also with the Zapple board, that 5.0, I thought was a great just like one board quiver to have out there, because it's kind of just a good mid-length, not too big, not too small, in case I wanted to go prone one day. I could still prone with that if I wanted to, and it catches them super easy because it is 5.0
Yeah.
and a little longer for that.
Cool. So easy to do with one board, but definitely you're gonna want to pack 2 foils.
Yep.
So you can take advantage of good conditions and so-so conditions.
Yeah, right.
All right, feel free to leave us a comment below on your favorite 1-2 combo for foiling. No matter what foil system you're on, we'd love to hear what you guys are pairing together to ride the variety of conditions you might get at your local break or even a specific spot. This has been Ryan with MACkite and Hunter here. We'll see you guys on the water.